Yeah, I don't know anyone who I didn't even know you could mix them. Can you still mix them? Like have a light panel and a dark applications?
Yeah, you get plasma theme that's hard coded,
Oh.
so to speak, in dark color, and
Hmm.
then you use a color scheme that's light. You can do it. You can do it with oxygen now. I don't personally do it. I don't see the point, like
Hmm.
aesthetically or usability wise, but there might be a subset that does this. But this was in KDE 4 with oxygen. The default color scheme is light, and then the panel was dark. Not in the case of air,
Hmm.
but you didn't have oxygen dark. You had these these plethora of themes called honeycomb, Norway, wonton soup, obsidian coast that have been deprecated since.
Okay, so there was a lot more of a continuum of like what did some of those look like, I guess?
Oh wow, some of them were really out there. I can send in the link somewhere because there's also actually if you go to the Oxygen repo, there's a merge request with some even older color schemes. And some of them I think are even like green, like Matrix, like it was it was a different time. It was a time like you remember, uh, like a lot of things could fly that couldn't quite today. It was more playful though, and
I
that's what I
guess
like about it.
that probably would have been around the time that Steam had the green theme. So I guess it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, there's some of them are like ordinary,
Hmm.
like by today's standards, but some of them like I think honeycomb was like something extra orangey with the
Hmm.
highlight. Um, they're pretty interesting, and there's actually a link somewhere. I think it's in the merge request as well. That describes there's actually a story behind them. It's not just a color scheme, but it's like an obsidian coast, and we wanted to show this and that with it. It's very interesting. I think that's something we've been missing, especially that we lost in the 2010s and we still haven't returned. Is this sort of a little bit of playfulness, a little bit of charm,
Hmm.
personality? Like, don't maybe like do the clippies that pop out or the candles or the conkies, whatever, but just a little something, quirky here and there could be useful.
Right, yeah, for a long time it's really been this you have the white theme and you have the black theme. And that's kind of all that was there. And if you go back to even if you go back to like XP, right? You had the gradient in the file manager, like the blue ribbon thing. Like there was more to the design. You had wasn't the was the panel blue back then on Windows? I don't remember. There was definitely a lot more usage of color, and I think moving into this material design, moving to this flat design, there has been a shift away from that. I think a big part of that is because of accessibility, because you really want to care, you really want to matter that like contrast is important. That's sorry, I'm tripping on my words. Contrast is important, and the easiest way to handle that is black text, white background, white text, black background. That's going to give you your contrast requirements. It's also a naturally good looking design, right? You can tint the dark gray a little bit blue, and now you have this modern like metallic design, and it looks nice. But doing something outside of that, actually having a color scheme that uses color that actually looks good is really difficult, and you really need to understand color theory
Mhm.
to make that work.
Yeah, it is. It's super difficult. And I think, again, this is this topic. It's okay, let's have a default look, offer the white dark experience, but it's KDE. You can also offer this extra options. If someone wants to use them, they can choose to use them. But yeah, I haven't personally myself like there's one theme there, color scheme is called cherry blossom, I think. And if you apply it in your system and everything is like pink cherry blossom tinted, it
Oh,
looks
wait, is
cool.
that what I saw? Okay, I saw someone using oxygen and it was tinted all. Is that like what that is? I presume?
Might be, I'm not sure. Yeah,
Okay.
but design wise, it is hard to pull off today without. But yeah, even like you mentioned Windows XP, but think of Windows 98 and
Mm.
all the themes you could do there. There was something like with textures, even like no one does this anymore. Like add like a wood panel texture in your panel art.
Right. Yeah.
Looks weird, but yeah, I think the default look it's still the times we live. It has to remain. You know, it has to be consistent, accessible, whatnot. It can't quite go back to the playfulness levels we saw before, but a little bit I think could be restored.
Well, I don't think you necessarily need to ship the playfulness yourself. I think something that I would expect to happen is once you provide the framework, other people are going to sort of build these third-party things that just, do not fit within Plasma. They're never going to be shipped in a core repo, but build off of the framework that has been provided here and really explore what can be done. Because once you have Oxygen in a state where it's working like it should be with Plasma, now you provide a really good point to fork off of and do your own thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I really think this whole third party ecosystem with all that's out there with the broken SDDM themes and whatnot, it's beautiful to me. And that's what makes KDE special. Yeah.
Yeah, the broken themes especially. There's some
Yeah,
choices that have been made out there.
the themes that steal your passwords and whatnot.
Maybe not
And,
those ones. Keep those ones away.